Does it work now? Yes. Okay. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. Now I'll have to start all over again. Anyway, a UFO invasion, spy balloons, trains off the tracks, and it seems that our whole world has gone off the track and gone quite a bit mad now. I had visions and spirit warned of a large mushroom cloud, if you recall, along with visions that I had of gas explosions. And all of this became a reality in a way that we would have never have guessed. I would have never have guessed. Seeing those explosions would have made me think of what's happening with the war in Europe, right? But no, it was something completely different. A train derailment in Ohio. We're going to explore this topic today. I've got my sound now? Yes, thank you. Carrie. Thank you, Carrie, with infinite love and gratitude. Spirit shows me who's responsible. Yes, there's someone or something responsible for the huge quake that happened in Turkey that took more than 30,000 lives. Spirit warned of a coming quake that would hit in February, and it sure did. And I have more details on this Turkey quake and who may be the next target of an earthquake in earthquake warfare, something I warned about a few months back. Another Illuminati satanic ceremony with deep symbolism is thrown in our faces once again, this time at the Super Bowl. I'm going to discuss the symbolism behind this ceremony and the future pandemic that it symbolizes and warns us of. Remember, Spirit warned back in 2023 world predictions to keep our eyes to the skies. Remember that? Over and over, saying that we'd have more record-breaking sky events and UFO sightings than ever before reported in history. But again, we would have never imagined that these sky events would include a Chinese spy balloon and other UFOs, only because they're unidentified flying objects, as they allegedly claim within the government. We're going to explore this topic. And Spirit told us that there was going to be 4 more balloons. Remember, I saw a vision of 5 balloons being launched. Was that last week or the week before I had that vision? And we have 4 at this point. So is there another one flying out there, or did they just hide that from us so that the government can call them flying objects, unidentified flying objects, as a preparation for their fake alien attack? Something we've talked about years ago on the show, or on YouTube anyway, not on the show, because this is only episode number 53. Will there be a fake alien attack? I'm going to cover this topic and a whole lot more today on this 53rd episode of Tittel Tea Time Predictions Update. It's not Tittle Tuesday, but it's definitely Wacky Wednesday. Sorry, a day late and $1 short, but I'm here. That's all that matters. Because we had a storm, yes, in the high deserts in the canyon of Arizona. We have an inch thick of ice out there. The trees are coated. Everything's covered and nothing melted today because it was only 22 degrees. Going down to 16 degrees here in the canyons of Sedona, Arizona. Up a little higher than the town of Sedona. That's why I get worse weather than they do down in Sedona, the town itself. Wacky weather, just like I said. Thank you, Lisa, for your chat cash, and thank all of you for being here, for your love and support, because I couldn't do this without you, especially my dear friends on Subscribe Stars, Awaken Your Spirit community, who are all hanging out on Zoom right now. Check that out. And as soon as I get a chance right now, my house is ripped apart. I'm painting and feng shuiing the home because I never had a chance to do that when I first got the home. Now I am doing that. So down below, you'll find all the links, all the descriptions to my social media, including the Awaken Your Spirit community, along with my newsletter at the top there. Make sure you click on that newsletter, open it up, and subscribe to that newsletter. Hey, it's free. If it's free, it's for me. Check it out. That way you never miss a video, updates, specials, classes, and so much more. So we are less than a week away from the new moon, which occurs on Monday, February 20th at 12:06 or 12:06 or 12:08. I forget which one. AM Mountain Time. I think it's 2:08 Eastern Time. It's either 08 or 06. I'm pretty sure it's 08. 8 minutes after the hour on the 20th. With this new moon coming, of course, it always represents a time of transformation and rebirth. This also brings about changes in the Earth's magnetic field, just like we do around the full moons. And we got to look back at that earthquake, too, in Turkey. That happened moments after the full moon. So I'll talk a little bit about that in a few minutes, but it's just kind of interesting. Even though that it's alleged that there was specific technology of warfare utilized in order to make that happen, which I may or may not agree with. You'll just have to hang out with me a little longer, and we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. But anyway, this changes in the magnetic field coming up around the new moon on the 20th. This will affect the magnetic field, the weather, and of course, people's moods. Hopefully, it'll bring people's moods up to a new level of joy. That's what we need. We need more positive moods going on. I would tell you to expect more sudden storms to come about, kind of like what we got here in Arizona and the ice that's coming across the country. Be expecting sudden storms, a new series of earthquakes, and this time being natural ones, not man-made ones, just so you know. Keep your eye close to the sky and keep your eye on the dates, the 19th, the day of the new moon, which is the 20th, and of course the 22nd that's coming up. And I'll see you next Tuesday, so we'll have more of an update. But that's why we're here today and not yesterday, because that snowstorm. I get bad reception, so it was better to postpone it than to have nothing but connection issues and be all stressed out about it. So day late, better late than never, as they say. So keep a close eye on those dates, because I feel like a massive attack on humanity is coming. And I'm not really clear what this attack may be, but an easy guess is it's somehow related to the tensions over there in Europe. I also expect some type of military response from China, perhaps in the country of India. With all these crazy world events, one thing I can say is it's not like it's the end of the world. Not yet, anyway. There's still time before that occurs. Here's one for you. Why does the end of the world never come? Because it's round, silly people. It's round, not flat. That's why. Let's talk about Ohio. East Palestine, Ohio, to be exact. And the Ohio train wreck. Now, I did say, and I don't remember. So if you ever remember and you find any links to things that I talked about in the past that come into fruition, please always include them in the comments down below. I read all the comments. Please don't send things through email or social media or messages. Send them all through the comments on YouTube. That way, everybody else can get a share of what you're sharing as well. And past things and things that I've said. And I've said things about train wrecks or train derailments, but I don't recall. And I didn't have time to look that up today. But let us begin with right now the most important story, at least here in the United States. And I find it very interesting, if you're not aware of this, that there was more coverage and more footage of this train derailment in Ohio in China. That's right. They had more coverage, more footage in our news stations and all throughout China than we had here in our country ourselves. Why is that, my friends? Because they were pushing UFO fake objects out into the media to put fear into people and to prepare you for their plan of the future of alien attacks, which is attacks by our own government, really in reality, and doing all this purposely to take your view away from what's really happening. The current day, modern day Chernobyl is what's happening right now, and it's bad, as you already know and can imagine. But Spirit showed me it's a lot worse than it's a modern day Chernobyl. That's exactly what it is. They purposely set off a gas explosion, which would make sense to my visions of seeing a big gas explosion. And some of those train cars were actually filled with propane gas, which is like, like under combustion. And they made claims, of course, as you may or may not know, that it would be better for the environment to ignite it the way they did. My friends in Ohio, because I know we have lots of friends, and I have friends in Ohio personally, as well as friends that are part of our tribe here. And that's true. If you want predictions, prophecy, accurate predictions, prophecy, and truth, you found your tribe. Don't forget to smash that subscribe. So, Spirit says that our friends in Ohio, and even within 100 to 200 mile range of ground zero, Spirit warns you are in grave danger. Not great danger, grave danger. They will continue to cover up this story, as they have been, as it's already killed hundreds of animals, birds, And it's already given residents that went back to their homes nosebleeds and other severe symptoms, dizziness, all kinds of stuff. Spirit tells me people returning to their homes would be like people moving into a space where a nuclear accident occurred. It would be like people moving in right next door to Chernobyl after that accident. That's what Spirit said. And I have no doubt that Spirit's 100% correct with that. I never argue with Spirit. I might misinterpret something. I'm not perfect. And sometimes things shift and change. Not all predictions come true, but, and hopefully a lot of them don't come true. But things do shift and change. So Spirit said that this is bad. This is going to be responsible for hundreds, if not thousands, of deaths. To make matters worse, Spirit says that this can be a slow, toxic suffering type of death, which to me probably one of the worst. It also has that we're not aware of yet, but it's going to have very strong long-term effects that will linger for a long period of time, kind of like Chernobyl. And it's going to affect thousands, tens of thousands of people. Spirit says, and remember I talked about the water wars in the past. Fight over water, poisoning of our waters. Look at, if you go back to my video, it's my most viewed video on YouTube. It's called The Black Snake Prophecy. Boy, oh boy, I wish every video could be as popular as that one with 500,000 views. You've got to go back to the Black Snake Prophecy. When the black snake crosses the river, the waters will become poisoned. And that happened, I forget how many years ago. It's been quite a while, with the whole Standing Rock reservation and the big fight. Go check out that video, the Black Snake Prophecy video. If I remember, I'll try to put a link up here. 14 minutes through, I got to remember to do that. Because that makes sense. And things take a while to come into fruition. And that black snake crossed the river. So that prophecy is coming into fruition. And we see it because the Ohio River, is poisoned. They were picking up tests. I forget how many, 100 miles down the river, finding toxic stuff in the waters that far away. Not good, my friends. Not good at all. And I would tell you, and I know it's easier said than done, because, not all people can get up and just go or whatever, especially at your home. It's where you live. But people within a 20-mile radius, even just 20-mile radius, especially of that ground zero, I would be packing up and getting out of there. I don't even know if I'd want to take my stuff with me because I'd be afraid that that's toxic. There's way more to this story than they're telling you, friends. Spirit says, going back to the waters have been poisoned and water filters cannot get out some of the carcinogenic particles that are going to be in the water or that are in the water. This will even seep down into aquifers, or the aquifer that's beneath there, below, tainting people's water and tainting people's wells. You're going to see this in the story soon. Thank you, Mr. Skylight. Shining brightly up there, Mr. Skylight. Thank you. So I just had a brain fart. Total brain fart. Mr. Skylight, you gave me a brain fart. Even down to the aquifers. Oh, you're going to hear this story in the near future that people aren't going to be able to use their wells. This reminds me of Warminster, Pennsylvania, and that whole area of Bucks County, Pennsylvania, where I'm from. Where people couldn't use their wells anymore because the Navy base was dumping toxic chemicals into the ground, which seeped into the water and everybody's wells. And now their wells became useless. Yeah. It's also a good way of forcing you not to be able to be dependent on yourself, taint the water. So you have to depend on the government's water and the public water that has all kinds of stuff in it, including fluoride, which is fluoxetine, which is a form of I just drew a blank on that medicine. Can't think of it now. Can't think of the medicine. But anyway, basically they're putting drugs in your water. Pretty simple. Do your research. It's pretty obvious. Look up fluoride, fluoxetine, which is a derivative of medicine, basically a high toxic potent dose of it. So Spirit says that their wells are going to be useless. And actually, there should be no humans within 20-mile radius of the epicenter. That's what Spirit said. No humans. And we're going to see it because there's not going to, you're going to see animals avoiding that zone. You're going to see animals not going that way because of the sense of the energy and such. It's really sad to see the animals suffer because of some humans trying to make money. It's all about money and trying to get around things so they don't have to spend money to properly dispose of it. So let's just light it on fire. Yeah. Oh, it'll evaporate in the air after everybody breathes it in. Yeah, real smart. So what makes this story even more odd is the fact that there have been many train derailments in 2023 already, as if there's an attack on our transportation, just like the attack on our chickens, the attack on our eggs, the attack on food manufacturers. And Spirit warns that there's so much more to come, including the attack on our water that I said over a year ago in last January's predictions for 2022, the water wars. And you know, sometimes things take up to 2-3 years sometimes to come into fruition. So, you know, we're going to see a lot of that, especially when we get closer to 2025. This is why I urge you, friends, to stock up as much as you can and have a source of everything you need when you need it, in case you are stuck in place for a long period of time, especially with the way the wars are breaking out and we're heading into, well, we're kind of in World War III, but I'll talk about that in a few minutes too. So it looks like, again, an attack. And this was all caused by the actions taken by the dark evil doers. Not clear on what all that means from Spirit. As far as Spirit says, this is caused by actions taken by dark evil doers. All these things that I talked about, the transportation, chickens, eggs, all that. I'm not clear everything that Spirit said, but I am clear that Spirit makes me feel that the railways and all forms of transportation will be targeted from this point forward. They already have been. But now our eyes are on it. We're paying attention. That's why people are noticing that there's been multiple train derailments, because people are now watching. People are waking up, finally. And you know, those dark evil doers, they could care less. Right in your face. They don't care. Look at the Super Bowl satanic ritual. I'll talk about that in a moment, but I got a lot more to talk about first. We are going to see an important railway system being cut off completely for a long period of time. Now, we see that with this, but they want to hurry up and open it back up, you know. It's all about their union workers that they're having a hard time getting now because nobody can find good workers anymore. So we're going to see an important one cut off for a longer period of time, much longer than what we are seeing in Ohio right now. And we're going to notice more cover-ups and more excuses when when repairs on this one particular railway that goes out in the future, they're going to keep making up excuse after excuse as to why it's taken 10 to 20 times longer for them to repair this. So I don't know which route this is, but this has got to be a major route. And I think I'm still in the United States with that particular prediction. But this doesn't leave Canada or the rest of the world out of it either. So lots of cover-ups, lots of excuses. And in the way of travel, we've all seen, let's talk about airlines. We've seen lots of issues over and over with the airlines, which I talked about a while back before it all happened. And I warned you that there were going to be many more to come. The intention of the evil elite doers is to make us not wanting to travel. They don't want you to travel. They want to go on their private jets and ruin the atmosphere all they want and eat their cheeseburgers, but you're not allowed to. So they're going to start doing things to block us from traveling. Look at the Oxford over there in England, how they're starting that in the town where you're not going to be able to travel outside of the area. You know, and again, people can't always just get up and move. It's easy for us to say, well, then I'd move the hell out of there, but it's not that easy to just get up and move. Especially out of it, like completely out of the area. I moved across country. That was one of the hardest things I ever had to do. So be prepared, friends. Be prepared by having the things you need, but also having a go bag in case you got to run anywhere. Have everything you need ready to go if you have to go, and have a place where you can also keep things hidden if they need to be hidden, like food and such. Not that they need to be hidden now, but a place where you can hurry up and put all your stuff where it's not going to be harmed or found. Keep those things in mind, really important. Going back to the airlines and the evildoers, their whole intention is to also instill fear tactics. Spirit says we're going to start seeing fear tactics that are going to make people fearful of flying. I see more and more so-called hacks. I had visions of more hacks coming to the airlines, but also an airline control center, and that's dangerous. When they hack into an airline control center, that's beyond dangerous. It's just deadly. But we're going to see that, and also their booking servers. There's a hack into the booking servers of the airlines where they could just totally delete your tickets or whatever they're going to do, but there's going to be something. So we see that coming. There's going to be several airports that are going to shut down for multiple reasons. One airport will be evacuated due to some type of bomb scare or threat, and even an attack on an airport by a crazed gunman, which that gives me deja vu because I had a prediction not that long ago where I had a vision of somebody in the airport waving a gun around and so forth. But that came up again today, and I could have said that a year ago. I can't keep up with what comes through from Spirit. And no matter how long ago it was, it came up again today. And that's what's great about watching every week and tuning in, usually on Tuesdays, not Wacky Wednesday, but Tittel Tuesday, because we know when things are coming closer to an event happening because Spirit reminds us. And those reminders are sometimes I get more clarity, more details about the predictions. So something may come through today that's a little vague, but next week it may come through with more clarity. That's why you got to make sure you join our tribe and smash that subscribe. Smash the subscribe. So several airports being shut down for multiple reasons. As I said, one for a crazed gunman. One of these airports issues is going to be in Europe. I believe it's going to be in the UK. I'm not sure which airport. Like I said, multiple reasons. And another one, of course, here in the United States. I had visions of an airport, perhaps several airports, targeted by missile attack. I can only imagine that this would be somehow related to what's going on in Europe and maybe even Russia, like Russia's airports being targeted or with missiles attacks. And I did say something about that in the past with airports, but again, Spirit reminded me of this today. So don't be surprised if you see an airport also in Poland or in Germany or both being taken out by some type of attack. Our friends in Poland, my friends in Poland, your government's going to suck you into war, my friends. They're going to suck you in, and they're going to do it through a flag flying ever so falsely. And that's not even in my notes. That just came to me. I already knew this, but that flag flying falsely thing that Spirit just said is new to me. That's new. Kind of like they did with these UFO flying objects, take them down to throw your attention away from the war and to throw your attention away from the Chernobyl right here in Ohio, in the United States. So Spirit says that Poland and the people of Poland are going to get sucked into a war from their government due to a flag that flies falsely. Something to watch, my friends. And this feels like it's on our doorstep, like right on our doorstep. Thank you, Gwenny. Gwenny, thank you for your chat cash. Couldn't do it without you. So interesting, Poland, friends in Poland. I warned Germany. I've been warning in Germany for 2 years now about seeing things with Germany and people lined up like the Great Depression and World War II. So these things are on our doorstep. Some this year, and again, 2025. Look out for 2025. Eventually, I will do an early 2025 prediction video. I did the tribulation video a while back that talks about 2025 to 2032. But I will do more of that. All the more reason, again, to join our tribe here. So separately, I had a vision of an airplane in the water that reminded me of Captain Soley landing into the Hudson River. You remember that? It's really interesting because if you go back to my predictions, my January predictions that year, I forget what year that was, but those ones are on my blog, actually. If my blog's still up, I haven't used that blog in a decade, but predictions are still up there on that blog. I think it's Spiritman Joseph at blogspot.com. I'm pretty sure that's it. you'll see that I had a vision of that particular year of a plane landing in the river, and it happens, Captain Soley. Well, today I had that vision again, and it reminded me of that whole vision I had back then, except it looked a little different this time, friends. It looked a little different. It looked like the plane was broken, like, you know, part of it broke off, or the plane was separate from the body. That was part of that was different. The water has felt chilly and cold, but I couldn't tell they really were. For some reason, it just felt like I was freezing. And there was a bridge right there. There was a bridge that I could see in the vision of this plane going down in the water. I don't know where this is or where this is occurring. But I see, again, a bridge right next to it, a plane in the water. I also see a plane in the sky. This is my girl down here. You can't see her. She's down here. She's down there. See, here's my girl. That's my little precious Mary Jean. Yesterday, on Valentine's Day, was me and precious Mary Jean's 16-year anniversary. Her birthday was 6 weeks ago, but I got her on Valentine's Day 16 years ago. She's an old bag. It's like an old bag. Anyway, I also see a plane in the sky in my visions, and there is smoke and flames coming from the side of it. I could not tell if this was hit by something like a weapon, or from a weapon of some sort, or something blew up in the cabin, or maybe it's some other kind of plane malfunctioning. But in my vision, I saw the plane in the sky with it looked like flames coming out, but definitely a lot of black smoke. And then all of a sudden, it took a dive down pretty quickly. I didn't see a crash. I can't say I saw a crash. Crash landing, definitely. Maybe a crash landing for sure, because it went down really fast. But it felt to me like it was trying to get to a safety before it blew up or something. That's all I got from that particular vision. Means, again, a lot of times when I see these visions, the way I did with that one, there's usually ends up being a video or something that relates to exactly what I saw, kind of like the mushroom cloud. When I saw that, it looked very similar. I do believe that there'll be more of that, more related to that, but we'll not get into that right now. Let's stick with the airplanes. So, plane in the sky, I cannot tell again if it was caused by a weapon. I did not see a crash, but I was watching this vision from a distance, as if it was like in the neighborhood, and I was watching from a distance. You know, and you catch it out of the corner of your eye, something smoking in the sky. That's the way that vision came to me today. I remember about a year ago, I warned that the airlines would be in for a rough ride, and to the point of actually needing another government bailout. Thank you, Henry. Henry, long time no see. I can't read that because I don't have glasses on, but long time no see. Thank you for your check, Cash. So yeah, remember years ago, not years ago, about a year ago, I warned about airlines being in for a rough ride, government bailout. But I also see one fairly sized airline going belly up, and I also see a merger of two airlines. It may be actually the bailout of the airline going belly up by the other airline that causes this merge to happen. I don't know what airlines they are, but I would say that the one that's merging with the other is a big one, of course, huge, and the other one's probably the one that needs the bailout, and that's how they're bailing out. They're getting bought up by somebody else. I said it before, and I'll say it again. I see a plane or several actually being shot out of the sky. I saw this in the past. Again, I got that reminder today when I was channeling this information and the subject of airplanes. Going by my vision of this event, I would say that one of these is going to be caught on video. Because like I said, a lot of times my visions end up being an actual like video or picture, which is wild. This is one of them. So be interesting. Speaking of airplanes and things in the sky, thank you, Melissa, for your chat cash, my kind friends today. Speaking of air in the sky, how could we not forget how many times Spirit had told us to keep our eyes to the skies in 2023, right? Spirit kept telling us, keep our eyes to the skies. Since January 1st, I've been telling you that, and even before we even got to that, I believe I said it in December. But let me remind you of my past prediction of a UFO being shot down. Remember that prediction? That was a while ago, actually. That was a long while ago. That was over a year ago, having that vision of a UFO being shot down. Except I you know, I also said that there would be witnesses in video, of course. That's how the vision came to me, or at least photos of this thing being shot down. Thank you, Kathleen, with infinite love and gratitude. I hope my sound's good. I just got this microphone system. It better be good. So there's a rumor, apparently, and that alleged that Putin shot down a UFO last month. But of course, there's no evidence to back up these claims. None at all. Spirit wants to remind us that 95% of the UFOs that are seen in the skies are government vehicles, mostly belonging to the secret dark evil forces with their own secret Luciferian army. You know, like here in the United States, if you're not aware, all this money suddenly was disappearing from the military budget, and there was no explanation of where it was going. But we know where it goes, to black ops and all that secret stuff that's going on that they don't want you or even the president to know about. It goes to show that the president doesn't have power at all. It's military. And what's so let me remind you again that past prediction UFO being shot down. But also another reminder that I was shown UFOs not long ago, either not very long. If you recall, I saw UFOs being used, or Spirit telling us that they would be used in acts of war, as some type of warfare. So yeah, of course, maybe if Putin did shoot one down, again, I feel like that's just alleged. There's no proof, so I'm not even going to go with that being a fact. But it was a big story for people. They're still talking about it, actually. But there ain't no but nothing. There's nothing at all to even slightly collaborate that story. So, acts of war with UFOs. So could there have been a UFO shot down by Putin? I mean, it's possible. I want to hear your comments below. So remember, leave your comments if there are any evidence or anything. Just leave your comments below because I appreciate your comments. I appreciate you. Don't forget to click that like button too while you're at it. So, going back to, we will have to wait and see how this all pans out. But at the same time, we can now clearly see why Spirit told us on January 1st to keep our eyes to the skies, right? First, we had the Chinese spy balloon, which Spirit confirmed last week or the week before that it was 100% Chinese spy balloon, exactly that. Let us not forget that, again, Spirit showed me a vision of 4 more flying together. So the first spy balloon was followed by, a lot of people may not know about this, all these NASA planes that were taking flight, like a massive amount of NASA planes taking flight on the East Coast. Then there was the UFO, unidentified flying object over Alaska, another one in Canada, and then something in Montana airspace and closed airspace above Lake Michigan. So we got 4, but there's still another one. It appears that there's still one more. Likely that has already been in our airspace, the 5th one, and the government just isn't telling us about it as usual. All the media was talking about here in the United States was the unidentified objects allegedly shot down or whatever they are claiming as of today. Thank you, Katrina. Katrina always comes in like a storm. Yeah, so that's all the news talks about. It's all they were talking about. I don't watch the news, but I mean, anything, you go online, it was just, that's all you hear about is what's shot down and blah, 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 UFOs. And once again, Spirit shows us that they are throwing in our faces the fear of an alien attack. And if you go back, even Ronald Reagan said it with the whole Star Wars project back in the 80s. I remember that clearly. A threat from outer space, he says. Billions and billions of dollar project in outer space that we never heard about afterwards. And we know it's there. There's a big fight over the moon right now between China, United States, and fights in outer space. And, you know, there's a rule about outer space rules as far as universal laws in the universe. And it seems like countries are attempting to break those universal rules and laws. So, going back, remember, Spirit said, I lost my spot. Damn. So yeah, that's all the media was talking about. They were talking about unidentified objects allegedly shot down or whatever they want to claim today. Everything's different every day. Once again, they're throwing in our faces this fear of alien attack by making us more and more uncomfortable or comfortable with the subject. Both, making you uncomfortable but comfortable. They want you to be comfortable like it's a common thing. UFOs, no big deal, right? Remember, Spirit also told us that there would be a percentage over the next 5 years. Literally, the higher percentage of humanity would be able to claim that they saw UFO. But remember, 95% of those UFOs are government vehicles, military vehicles, really. Spirit told us that 2023 would be an unprecedented year for UFO activity. This is all a way of preparing and making excuses for military to also receive more money. And that's another thing they do here. You know, oh, well, we need more money because there's alien attack. You know, we need more money. Yeah, more of your taxpayer money to ship over to wars and to ship to militaries, and just unbelievable where humanity has come to, this point where humanity has come to. Spirit shows me a vision. This was really interesting today, my friends, of a whole bunch of UFOs. I saw this vision of all these UFOs, and they were moving pretty erratically, I must say, over a fairly large area of the sky. I saw visions of people gathering outside with their phones, you know, getting footage of this event. I would think that this would be a huge event by the way I saw it in my visions, and people gathering around, running outside to look at it, because there was at least a dozen or more UFOs. So it's a huge event that would make top story headlines. But Spirit told me to tell you, it's not real. Remember that. It's not real. Do not fall for it. Part of me feels Spirit is saying it's not real, meaning that it's some type of holographic technology, and them testing out their holographic technology. So be aware of that. I don't know where this is. Brazil just popped in my brain for some reason. So we're going to say Brazil, because that just totally popped in my brain. So our friends in Brazil, keep your eyes to the sky, no matter where you are. A while back, I talked about earthquake wars, water wars, and discussed alleged technology like HAARP, HAARP, if you're not familiar with HAARP, being used to bring about weather events like earthquakes. We know, if you do your proper research, you would know too, that this technology does exist. Our government's even told us straight out in different congressional meetings and everything. If you, again, really go down that rabbit hole, my friends, they have it. They've had it for a long time, probably since the 50s, 1950s. And they even tested their vibrational equipment that sends radio frequencies through the air and through the earth. And they tested that up in Alaska. I forget when, but it was a long time ago, decades ago, actually. Now, imagine what they have now. If they tested this equipment and said, oh, they accidentally caused an earthquake. That's what they said in Alaska. Oh, it was an accident. We didn't know it was going to do that. Imagine what they have today. So is Russia going to bring about a big earthquake or tsunami? Because that's a big threat, my friends, because they have the equipment, and so does Sweden. Because Spirit shows me that Sweden is the ones responsible. Spirit shows me that this is all part of the European war. It's all part of NATO forces, or the Dark Army, whatever you want to refer to them as. And this has everything to do with the Swedish government and technology that they have there in Sweden that's actually older and more advanced than the United States HAARP system. So really interesting. This event in Turkey will bring about the army of evil that Spirit warned us about years ago, if you remember. I had visions of the angels, the 4 fallen angels along the Euphrates, gathering together a big army of evil coming across the lands. And if you missed last week, I did a video called 4 Fallen Angels. If you want more information about that, check out the 4 Fallen Angels. I did it last week. Really, really interesting prophecy that's all coming into fruition. Like I said, if you want accurate predictions, prophecy, and truth, you found your tribe. Hit that subscribe. I'm going to keep saying it today because somebody actually left a comment. You say that too much and it's annoying. Well, how do you get subscribers? You remind people. If it's annoying, change the channel. What can I say? This event in Turkey is going to bring about the army that Spirit warned us about years ago. It's going to start to gather because of this event, is what I learned today from Spirit. So go check out the Fallen Angels video. Spirit says that Mother Earth, oh, Mother Earth is, girl, she is mad. Oh, you don't want to piss off Mother Earth. But Spirit said they pissed her off. They angered Mother Earth, and Mother Earth will make them pay, which makes me worry a little bit, slightly. I don't really worry because you can't worry. You can't do anything about things. Why worry about them? But the earthquake war that I spoke about months ago, I believe is underway. Without a doubt, it's underway. And this makes me worry for the people in California who have never been as vulnerable as they are right now. Friends in California, Spirit says you have never been as vulnerable for a massive earthquake as you are right at this moment. Now, personally, I don't believe that big earthquake is going to hit until 2025, maybe sooner. Thank you, Cindy. Thank you, Cindy, for your chat cash. I hope you all having a good day, by the way. Yeah, so Mother Earth's going to make them pay. This makes me concerned for California, but also the East Coast and the prophecies, that talk about the waters and Turtle Island and the native prophecies, the Lakota and the Hopi and even the shamans in Brazil, and making Turtle Island smaller. Not that we're really sinking, but we're going to be smaller. How's that possible? Yeah, that's how it's possible. Going back to these earthquake wars like Russia. So I got more. Actually, I should be in my list here. If not, I'll remember to do it at the end. But let's talk about China for a minute, because China is obviously a huge problem. But I have a strong feeling that things in China are about to get very, very difficult for the Chinese people, even if like they're not already difficult for the poor Chinese people under that CCP control. But I feel the fall of the CCP is coming. And by the year 2030, China will be a completely different country. I think the whole world will be, actually, come to think of it. But China will be a different country as far as changes in their landmass. So I don't know, changes in their landmass, meaning it's either shrinking or growing from climate events, weather events, or what have you. But part of China will also be underwater, Spirit showed me, probably like most of the planet, but that's by 2030, different place. In the past, I warned that issues would arise in and around the China Sea. I received a reminder today, which means tensions are heightening, according to Spirit. I see an exchange of fire taking place in the waters or over the waters, from one ship to another, or from land to ship, or both. I heard sirens, like evacuation sirens, sounding really loud on this ship, which looked like a military ship. They all did. And I heard sirens and evacuation, like the ship is sinking, perhaps, probably more likely sinking. This may perhaps involve the Philippines, but I strongly feel that some type of war or some type of military exchange is coming to the China Sea, like really soon. And I feel this is going to stir up something much larger. So whatever's breaking out of the China Sea, my friends, is not going to be good for the world, because it's going to unleash something, a bigger demon. It's like a little demon turns into a big demon. China thinks that they're invincible, as you know. They totally think they're invincible. And soon Spirit said they're going to try to prove that they're invincible by launching several exchanges, military exchanges, and attacks at one time. Several. And when I honed in on this prophecy, this prediction today with Spirit, I started different directions. It was really weird, because you would think, like military action would be like out of, the line, the war, the battlefield, whatever. It's all within the same day or within the same week. Hopefully this is not going to be the case, and hopefully this isn't going to come into the future, but that's the way I got it today. China is just, the devil's got his grips on them, and wants his grips on the world. So on the subject of war, did you hear that the United Kingdom, my friends, I got a lot of friends in the United Kingdom, and my friends in the United Kingdom, what is wrong with your government preparing now for World War III and telling you that they're going to be preparing for World War III? Okay, first of all, they've been prepared. All these countries have been prepared for decades for war. So, we're getting prepared. No, they're prepared. They've been prepared. They're throwing these warnings in your face to let you get ready and know that they're going to do this. And again, Spirit's showing me all these flags flying falsely. In my vision right now, I don't, 4 or 5 flags I see all flying separately. And it's weird. I see 3 over here together, 1 here, and then 1 over here. So I'm going to say 3 in one area, or say 3 flags, say, to do what Russia. 1 with another country and 1 with another. I guess that's why Spirit separates them like that for me. But that's how I see this vision. I see these flags flying ever so falsely. And we were just talking about, what were we just talking about? United Kingdom. So I'm going to say that one of those flags that's flying has got to be related to United Kingdom. And we're already, we're already in a different kind of war. We're already in a WW123, we're already there. And it's a much different type of war. Soon we're going to see weapons that we never imagined even existed, kind of like the UFOs, suddenly warfare. And they're going to make it look like an alien attack, when really it's only going to be an attack from another country. And they'll get caught. They'll never get away with it, by the way. Spirit warns us that so many events will be blamed on natural disasters or natural events like the quake in Turkey, except it's actually going to be modern day technology warfare, modern warfare. Going back to the earthquake wars, I feel that there is actually a plan in the air right now on the table to take down the Solomon Islands. Remember my predictions about Solomon Islands? I've said that probably 5 years ago, that eventually the Solomon Islands would be underwater. They'd be gone. But today I got information that the Solomon Islands are a target, and it's a plan that's on the table. So therefore, a great earthquake targeting directly to the Solomon Islands. This also makes me fear for both, again, California and the East Coast of the United States. So remember me, mark my words, what I'm about to tell you, my friends. If a large earthquake hits Russia, or maybe even perhaps China as well, but definitely Russia, and the leaders at all suspect technology was used, like we all know was in Turkey, if Putin at all, or even Z over in China, suspects that technology used, they're going to retaliate, especially Russia. Spirit said that today. So they must be planning this, whoever, I don't know who, because, obviously the Swedish government have their technology, United States has theirs. So I don't know. Apparently it's on the table. They thought about it or talked about it or discussed making a big earthquake occur over there in Russia, but also probably China as well. China's probably not as big on the table as Russia is, because, they so bad want their regime change, right? Full world control. So keep your eye on Russia, friends. And trust me, if there's a big earthquake that hits, especially Moscow, because Moscow comes into my brain, comes into my vision, in my brain, and my vision in my brain. So keep an eye out for that. And if that does occur, hopefully it don't, then we have to be extremely on extreme caution and warn for the East and West Coast of the United States. Remember, they show in the visions and the Illuminati cards I did many videos on the big tidal wave hitting the East Coast. Maybe I'll do an update on that sometime in the next couple of months. It's not at the top of my list, but it would be good to do an update on that because there is more information. So a great quake targeted directly to the Solomon Islands. And so let's hope there isn't one in Russia. And that even if it's a natural one, if they at all, Spirit said, suspect that somebody else is responsible, they're going to retaliate in a similar fashion. But I feel like the retaliation, if it was, say, Russia, let's do a scenario here, say that there was a big earthquake in Moscow and Russia thinks the United States is responsible, they're not going to do the same exact thing, like same exact thing. I think more than anything, they would ignite something off the coast to the East Coast, like, say, a nuke in the water that brings the tidal wave. Just a scenario, just a thought, friends, just a thought. Don't get paranoid like it's going to happen. But eventually that is going to happen in New York City, eventually. I don't know when, but eventually. I have a lot of friends there, so I really hope not. Speaking of, East Coast, and the Eagles screwing up the whole game. I was actually wrong on that prediction. I'm not always right. I admit when I'm wrong, and I admit when I'm right. So, Super Bowl halftime ritual, like the Grammys, and Sam Smith doing his satanic ritual. This is a video I am going to actually work on and show you step by step, because there's a bunch of other things I want to include in that. That's actually the next one on my list. But like I said, right now my house is ripped apart and I got to finish painting while I have a few days off from clients and classes. But I'll get back on to the editing table on Sunday. So I will work on that. But the symbolic symbolism behind these ceremonies. Go back to the Commonwealth Games. Go watch that one. Commonwealth Games grand opening, performance. With kids in beds with masks on. This was before COVID broke out, by the way. Just like the Super Bowl. We had Sam Smith, and I haven't watched that yet. I just saw a minute of it and turned it off because it made me want to vomit. I'm going to have to force myself to watch the whole thing so I can show you the symbolism behind it. Same with the Super Bowl. I only watched a minute of what somebody sent me, actually. A friend of mine sent me. And instantly, me and actually even a doctor said the same exact thing as me, that it symbolized the red blood cells and the white blood cells. Also, the symbol of her in the middle of the stage symbolized the bug, the virus. And to me, that was all and they had hazmat suits on. If you really look, they were hazmat suits, all in white, representing the white blood cells versus the red blood cells. Also representing, of course, a great pandemic of some sort. And I have no doubt, I mean, even Gates has already said it, there's another one coming. And I believe if you look at their little games that they play, their war games and their virus games, like they did right in 2019, right before the breakout, they did all those meetings. Well, they did the same thing this time for 2025. So I believe 2025 is, Spirit warned us about that year. So hopefully it doesn't happen and they're stopped before it occurs. But that's what they're symbolizing in that ceremony. And there's more to it. I haven't watched the whole thing. Again, I only watched a minute of it. I will go through it all because there's a couple other videos I want to show you. Like if you're not familiar with iGoat, go watch that. That's sick. iGoat 2 and 3, actually. 3 is even crazier because it shows the Antichrist and them ushering that in. Crazy. I want to add that actually probably about when it comes to satanic ceremonies and the way they put it right in our faces because they're sick bastards. Oh, excuse my language. I just said that. Oh, my Lord. Green lights that were flashing down. Hello. I got to finish up. My dog's pacing the floor and she has to pee. But I still got stuff I want to talk to you about. So yeah, halftime. Oh, the green lights, the lasers that were coming out of the sky. And you got to remember, lasers measure things. They can measure things, distance, width, all kinds of things with lasers. And there's these lasers coming out of the sky all around Hawaii. What are they measuring? Now, of course, they'll blame China right away. It's funny how they're blaming China all of a sudden and not Russia. Usually it's always Russia, right? Russia's fault. Russia did it. Now it's China's fault. China did it. It's kind of funny. They're switching over because I guess they already got their war with Russia that they've been wanting for a decade. Now they want the one with China. So now everything's China's fault, right? Those lasers, according to Spirit, from me right now, are actually connected to the United States. So don't believe anything else that they tell you. It's part of them testing their holographic stuff, I bet you, and what they can do from their satellites, their new satellites that they launched in the past year. And Spirit just said they launched new ones, new technology that they can use in war. Speaking of that, look at Starlink. Starlink, it's becoming a weaponized, system, right? I remember what I said before they launched Starlink, that Starlink would be connected to the web of darkness because it creates a web around the earth. And I heard about the web of darkness for a long time ago, but even more so when I was in Peru working with the shamans in ayahuasca. And I had the whole vision of being caught up in the web. And Spirit gave me the whole lowdown. That's another one I got to tell you all one day about my ayahuasca journeys. They're long. I have to remember to do that. I want to do it when the weather's nice. It's better to sit outside and record that story for you. But yeah, I was shown the web of darkness. And then when, a couple years later, they started to launch Starlink, and I was like, oh my God, that's the web of darkness Spirit's telling us about. And now, they weaponized it. We know they did. The UKR was using it to weaponize it, to use it however they use it. And now Musk is pulling that use off of them, which he should. Maybe he took a turn to the light. I still say no, but hopefully those don't become weaponized items. Starlink, unbelievable, right? Web of darkness. What else? What else? Did you hear? And I don't know how true this is. So again, my friends, leave comments down below. Don't forget to click that like button. Chinese have their own police here in the United States, their own little police force. I forget what state it is, probably California. If anybody can validate that information, please do leave some links below. Chinese police in the United States. That is just something wrong with this country. Something's wrong with that leader. He's in their pockets. That's what it is. A couple of little predictions here that I have at the end here. Oh, did you see that Gates, Mr. G himself, called out the UKR for their corruption and being the most evil, or what do you say, the most corrupt government of all governments in the world? It's amazing that he came out and said that. Isn't that kind of wild that he actually said that? You got to pay attention to what he says, because remember, he tells us things before they happen. Symbolic. He's big part of the darkness. Maybe the Antichrist is like his kid or somebody like that. We know it's one of their kids that they've been hiding for a long time and worshiping behind closed doors. That's coming. I believe that's 2025 as well. Ushering in of the Antichrist. So, yeah. Chinese police, green lasers, Starlink. In due time, Spirit says there will be noticeable changes in the magnetic compasses. So if you have a compass, I use my compass. Magnetic compasses are soon going to change. People are going to notice the changes. It has been changing already, Spirit says. But nobody's really noticing except for the scientist or whoever, and they're not telling you. But now it's going to become noticeable. There's going to be a noticeable change in magnetic compasses. I don't know when, I don't know how, but I would think it's all going to happen like all at the same time kind of thing, making it like viral where everybody's noticing this change in the magnetic compass. Also, Spirit showed me martial law. Remember, I talked about martial law many times. Martial law is coming. We're going to hear that and see that several times coming up this year in 2023. And martial law is going to be in Europe. You're going to see martial law, especially they're going to try to relate it to the whole war efforts over there. Martial law, and I keep getting the number 3. So I'm going to say 3 martial laws at the same time. 3 places calling martial law at the same time. But this really felt Europe bound to me. This felt very much focused on Europe. Also, Italy just popped in my mind. And I'm looking at a map in my vision of Italy and the little boot, and it starts to shake. So I'm going to say that a large quake is coming to Italy. I'm going to put that in my notes. Got to have notes in case I can go back and refer to these things. But I just saw that. They just popped in. There's nothing here about that. Only martial law in Europe was the last thing on my list. Oh, other than also, is Hillary Clinton going to run? Some people will say no, she's not going to run. That woman wants power more than ever before. She wants power. And look at Trump's Republican candidate. What's her name that just became a candidate? She's not going to last long. As soon as I saw her pop up on the screen and they announced her as the candidate, Republican candidate, she's going to pull out of the race. She ain't going to make it very far. They spent all this money. What a waste. Like, what a waste. They spend millions and millions of dollars on each candidate. It's unbelievable to me. What's unbelievable to me is that there's 2 inches of ice outside of my yard in Arizona right now. But with that said, I'm trying to keep today as short as possible, but it wasn't really that short, was it? We were still here an hour. But that's okay. I love spending this hour with you. Usually on Tuesdays and not on Wacky Wednesdays. But again, because of weather, to me, because I have satellite Starlink, I'm part of that web of darkness. Not good. but it's all we have. Best option I have here in the canyon. So when there's a storm, you know, you all have been here where there's glitches or I get cut off and have to come back on again. That's weather. So that's why I postponed yesterday and made it today. And I checked the skies earlier and the skies were clear. I'm like, we're good to go. And we've been good to go. So I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me as much as I love hanging out with you. Don't forget to click that like button. Don't forget to view my newsletter down below. And if you're new here, don't forget to be part of this tribe. You got to hit that subscribe. Remember, every Tuesday, you can usually catch me on Tuesdays, not Wednesdays. Every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Mountain, 8 p.m. Eastern. Until the next time, be kind to others as you wish others be kind to you, because we all know that mean people suck. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Much love and namaste. Have a great rest of your evening.